You are going to start your own business. I've started traditional businesses in my past, and I always look at it like the commitment level matches what you're invested into it, right? So a mindset, even if I'm only into it 5,000, 50,000, 100,000, whatever it may be, like I always got to look at it like I'm committing $1 million to this, because my commitment level to that company goes up more if I thought, and I have more skin in the game, right? So just like Chris said, be committed, but just be persistent and consistent. Like, I think that's the biggest thing when it comes to building business, whether it be in door-to-door or building in traditional businesses, being consistent and persistent. And that's how you're going to be able to last and be able to grow.
Love that.
I'd say one more thing too is if you're starting a new business, ask Sam for help.
Honestly, I didn't tell.
He didn't tell me to plug it. I
I
swear he didn't ask me to plug a thing. So he didn't ask me to plug one thing. He came on this to help, to give us a shout, help us recruit, help us, do our thing. But I'd say honestly, it's like, don't be afraid to ask for help, because you don't know what you don't know until you know it.
All right, everybody, this is Sam Taggart with the D2D podcast, and I'm here with Jordon Price.
What's up?
And Christopher Hill.
How's it going?
And we're with Brightside Home Solutions. They do windows here in Portland, Oregon.
Yes, sir.
We're out here live, and I came and did a little consult, on-site. Christopher's been in our mastermind group for, 4 months, 3 months?
Yep, 4 months.
Couple months.
Yep.
Come to a few of our events, and it is so cool and refreshing to take somebody that came to a business boot camp, saw the playbook, and said, I'm going to go do and implement this stuff. And I got to give them a big shout out for doing it. I mean, I come to their office and he's like, hiring people, firing people, putting the systems together, the training together, the videos together, the onboarding flows, the competition schedules built out. Like, he's doing the systems. And then I got to give him some shout out. And it is.
Appreciate the shout.
These guys are on track.
Gonna do it.
Their goal is $20 million this year. I mean, what did you do last year?
Last year we did $2 million. So.
$2 million to $20 million. So we're about to 10x the business.
Absolutely.
Let's go.
So Jordon, former door-to-door, been in sales and recruiting for
15 years.
15 years.
Yeah, I started door-to-door my first when I was about 12 years old, going and spray painting addresses, starting hustling, entrepreneur young, and went into building sales organizations with multiple different companies since really I was about 16, 18 years old. And now fast forward, and here we are.
Yeah, so a long time. He was at Aflac for many years, did a lot of recruiting there.
Yep, some network marketing, worked with some other door-to-door companies as well, and really found a home here and saw the potential of what it is that we're doing and helping cultivate that culture and grow the platform.
It's awesome. And then how long have you been running in Brightside?
So we've been doing Brightside for 2 years now. Yeah, but I've had a lot of experience in Windows. Windows is kind of not a traditional door-to-door space necessarily speaking, but I've been doing Windows for 10 years and just kind of got sick of not being able to grow inside of other organizations, and so we just decided to start our own thing and do it better, better than at least what I experienced before.
Well, what's crazy, you did $2 million all last year, and today you said they signed an $80,000 deal. I look at your board, and when is this? Since when does that inception? The last couple of weeks, right?
There's the last couple of weeks, yep.
So within the last couple of weeks, I'm seeing $400K. You're like, a little twist here, a little different.
Yeah, and it's just getting started.
Yeah, it's these were all new people.
All within the last 6 weeks.
And to see you actually do it, implement it, recruit it, run with it, and it's working is so fun. So another fun, for me, being the consulting side and the mastermind side of proud dad moment, yes. So I want to talk through kind of, you came out to what month were you at business boot camp?
In October, we came out to the business boot camp by myself. We were kind of in a place where I had a new crew coming on, but we just spent the entire summer with everybody just not wanting to go to work post, COVID, fallout and everything like that. And so we just have a really hard summer. So we actually came to get the help that we needed, I felt like, to kind of scale our business, because I felt what we were doing wasn't working. And so we just went there, and it really opened my eyes to see the things that we weren't doing, especially being a new company. We realized some of the shortcomings that we had, some of the corporate culture that we really weren't implementing in our own company, specifically speaking, to kind of help retain people and create that long-term vision for people to be in our company, specifically speaking.
Yeah, so what were some of the things that you were we had, it opened my eyes to, we weren't doing this, we weren't doing this, we weren't doing this, that now you're like, oh, we need to do this, we need to do this, we need to do this?
Yeah, the list is really too long to like enumerate, probably even in a podcast. But I mean, like some things that really stood out to me to this day were like just having core values, really setting like the standards of who we wanted to be as a company and projecting that vision for other people. Another was, as much as we tried to kind of sell people on like, oh, you can make so much money doing this. Like for us at the same time, it was like, we weren't showing people like what their career could look like here,
Yep.
and really projecting our vision and showing them how their vision could fit inside of our own, and creating that culture within it. On top of like, I'd say we didn't have any training platforms set up, specifically speaking. It was really old school, archaic, but that's just kind of the companies that I worked in. Like they were stuck in old ways. They were old 20, 30-year-old companies that just did things the same way because for how much money they wanted to make, it worked. But when I saw other companies, what they were doing after consulting with you, going to $10 to $20 million in sales, I was like, oh, well, we can do much, much more in this industry. And so those are some of the things that I felt like we started to put in practice immediately. The culture pieces, the core values, the training program, like we created on Keynote. We created all new training platforms to run people through so that they had the same systematic process, so that everybody got the same quality training.
Yeah, and it was cool. I quizzed literally one of his reps today. I was like, so give me your pitch. And she just rattled it off like nothing. Yep. And I was like, that's impressive.
Unconscious consciousness.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. And so we've been really impressed with, one, we kind of give a shout to Sam on his own podcast, but it's like, I'm pretty humble. Like, I'm a hard worker, but like, I really say like this was because of, I feel like, door-to-door experts. I feel like it was because of business boot camp, joining the circle. So I feel like if anybody's listening that's thinking about it, they should definitely hop on it.
It's cool. And come compete. He said if Jefferson, I got to give a shout out to JKR and Jefferson and those guys, because that helped inspire Chris. And hopefully Chris is inspiring others to go out and say like, yeah, we can do 2 million or we can do 20 million. Like, let's go, because Jefferson did 1.5 and he's like, I'm going to do 10. And he's like, I'm going to do 20. And he's doing it. He did it.
Yep.
And I'm like, guys, like sometimes until we surround ourselves in an environment that pushes us to play at a different level. As an owner, it's like, yeah, I made 80 grand, I made 200 grand, I made 500 grand, whatever that is, and you get complacent. And then all of a sudden you're like, it's just not about the money, it's about the game. Yeah. And so as you've been in big organizations like Vivint to little guys to, as you're coming in out of a massive organization where they had millions of dollars invested into systems and years and 20 years of expertise and leadership on leaders and layers. Yeah. Moving into smaller, more startup feel, what have been some of the eye-opening things that maybe you weren't expecting? And what are some of the things that you're like, wow, this is really fun and exciting? Yeah.
I got a real passion. When I met Chris, I saw the vision of what he was wanting to do, and I saw, per se, the holes of what I could come in and kind of fill. And the two things that I always focus on is systemizing and duplicating. Like, we got to have an environment for our team to run on. And I've seen through multiple organizations, multiple billion-dollar organizations, the platforms, the systems, and kind of choosing, what it is that I saw that worked and kind of coming here. And what I didn't really expect was, how much effort that really does take in the time-consuming stuff. It's been a grind, and I feel like over just the last 2 months, we've been able to really push the platform itself up for anybody that's coming on to say, I have a chance to win here. And if I know anybody can come on and say, regardless of background, regardless of experience, they come in, they apply themselves, really 3 things: hard work, coachability, and a desire to win, and they can have success. And so really making sure that if we have the environment for them to come in and go through that and just apply themselves, that they see it. And we're seeing it time and time again now, where some people are coming in making 7-10K in their first month. And they're like, I've never made a 10K in 1 month ever. And I'm like, yeah, it's exciting, but that's just the beginning. Yeah. So really getting them to open up their minds and see that light bulb moment go off to where they can start to dream again. Because so many people get complacent and they don't think that they can achieve those dreams. They get stuck into this rut. They get stuck into that 9 to 5. And having somebody come in and say, I'm determining what I'm worth. Yeah. And whoever I was working for didn't respect me or see that passion in me. And so giving somebody that chance to and a platform to run on is everything for me.
And what's cool to watch is, I'm 100% about what you just said. Build the system to duplicate. Yep. And sometimes as a business owner, we're so caught up in selling, or babysitting, that we forget to take a second, step back. And that's why I love our deep dives. It's like, take a second, 2 days, go offsite, build your system, take some time to get it organized, and invest in like putting the foundation in place. Because I'm sure it hasn't been cheap I'm sure it hasn't been, it's probably been scary kind of saying, okay, I'm reinvesting. Like even just the cost of mastermind, like that kind of stuff to say, okay, I'm laying a foundation. I'm doing it with sound cement in a sound area so that there is a platform to scale so much faster. And how much more confident are you now bringing a new rep on versus a year ago today bringing a new rep on?
I think I would say I had confidence in the process before. I would say that what I feel now is that when I bring somebody on, I know that they have a track to run on, specifically speaking. Like I knew that if they applied what I said before, they would go out and have success. But I know with confidence that we could bring anybody on and put them on that track. As long as they stay on that track, they're going to have success. Kind of my thoughts about, you mentioned like the investment into Circle or the investment into the boot camps. Like I was never afraid to make those investments. Like they were investments, they were absolute risks, but I'm just kind of like, either it's all or nothing. Either I fail 100% or I succeed 100%. And I feel like it doesn't matter what those investments are. I mean, as long as you can obviously afford them, like you can't like upend yourself to do it. But like I was willing to risk to make those things happen, and I feel like it was 100% worth it because of the vision that it helped me have, or like take the vision that I already had to some extent of what we could do and what I was excited to do based on what I'd seen other companies do inside of your programs. And I really feel like this has just given me the roadmap to kind of say, okay, now I know what to do. And especially you've been really helpful, like obviously coming up here and doing consulting and seeing our team and coaching our team. And I really appreciate like the support, and I know we're going to have the success, and I'm driven to hit that 20 million this year. And I don't have any doubt that we will because of your help, honestly. Obviously it's our work and our grind that we're going to do. But
doing it.
Yeah, but like
there's so many people doing it.
Credits, you know what I mean? It's credits due. We're like, credits due, man. And like, we'll go out and do the work, but honestly, it's like, I'm grateful to, like, for me especially, because I don't come from that traditional door-to-door space, and I'm kind of proud of that because it's exciting to come into that space with a new, kind of like you said earlier today, like Windows is sort of a sleeper, like it's kind of a unique thing in the door-to-door space specifically speaking, and I love door-to-door so much because it changed my life. So I don't mind giving that credit because like we'll go out and work and we'll make it happen, and that'll be like our success story. But like the greater success is like your program, and I don't mean to like be like, we're not here to like flatter or anything. I just am a humble person. It's like, I'm grateful to people that came before me and showed me what to do and showed me how to sell. And I'm grateful for the people that continue showing us how to, hit our dreams and reach our goals that we have as a company.
Love that. So let's talk about Windows. You I mean, everybody's like, oh, I keep hearing the solar guy, or I see the pest guy, or I see the roofer guy. And, you come from alarms. You were in alarms for years and insurance. Then all of a sudden you hear Windows. I guess, why Windows?
When I first interviewed with Chris and he started recruiting me, I had never done anything with Windows. I had no idea what it could be. And he kind of showed me the business model and what it was. And I really did relate it a lot to solar and, ticket price and the sale, the setter closer type model. And I was like, the business model just makes sense. There's not as many hoops that you have to jump through like solar with permitting and license, like all of these other things that make the installation take a little bit longer. And I was like, I see it because I'm seeing these sales coming through that are big ticket sales and they're same day closes. And I'm like, what in the heck? I never even thought of Windows as a door-to-door. I always just thought like, oh, go to Home Depot, there's a window. I had no idea that there was even a door-to-door space with Windows, let alone such a lucrative one.
Yeah, and so your target demographic is people that have old windows that are inefficient. They're, they let in a bunch of cold air or hot air, etc. And what's interesting is nobody's thinking about it proactively, being like, all right, it's time, honey, let's do the windows. Yeah. It's kind of like until you spark interest or spark a reason or spark an incentive to do it, they're not going to think about it. And all of a sudden you're just having to bring a solution to a problem.
Yeah. So windows are very much a product that I have a vision. I think that this is a product that still needs to be sold, especially when we're dealing with higher end products. Even when we talk to people that are higher up in the manufacturer that we work with, they're like, not a lot of people work in high end windows because you have to sell at a different margin. And that's what door to door actually allows us to do, is offer high end product for a really competitive price. But I feel like it's definitely a product that still needs to be taken to the market. And the customer still needs to be educated and explained to them, like you said. And we're really happy and proud to do that, especially here. Like, we want to do things that are different here. So a lot of, when people go purchase windows from a standard window company, but you're purchasing a double pane window, whereas we're offering a triple pane window in comparison. Also, the typical experience working with window companies is they work with like typical subcontractors, and subcontractors don't have a great reputation because they're non-communicative. They do work that they can't really back up, because then they sort of disappear after the work is done, and there's a lot of communication issues with that subcontracting model that exists if you purchase windows from a big box store like a Lowe's or Home Depot comparably. Whereas when we're doing everything, we have our own installers, and so we can guarantee all of the work that's being done, and we make sure that it's a finished project so that this is a project that doesn't lead to other projects. And so we add a lot of value to the overall buying experience that a customer has, especially that's why we're passionate about doing it in a door-to-door fashion.
I love that. It kind of helps open eyes to other opportunities too, like what about siding, what about gutters, and a lot of, like what about other services, like there's certain products that just need a demo, need to be sold, need to be explained,
right?
And I think too many people aren't opening their eyes to other opportunities out there, and it's fun to watch this market and Windows and Jefferson and you guys and other clients that we have that are like making hand over fist money, and I'm like, nobody should know about this.
Yeah.
Don't tell them.
Right.
So it's been fun.
Yeah, people aren't really waking up and being like, oh, look, I'm going to go get Windows today, you know?
Yeah.
It's really important that we take it straight to them.
We knock on their door, they sure.
So let's talk about culture, and it's been a huge topic of the day, so I figured let's continue it on with this podcast.
Yeah.
It was cool to watch Chris talk about a person you just let go. And it's not something we talk about firing a lot on this podcast. So kind of what happened, tell us a story about this rep that you were just like, F him, and why, and what was your reasoning behind that, and when do you need to know when to let somebody go or not, and talk to us about that.
Yeah, so in this kind of a scenario, we had somebody who was, we could see where they were on, we use Sales Rabbit for monitoring like where our reps are at and what homes are not, where the pins are dropping. Anyway, so this guy, we could see like he was geomapped sitting in his car, and he wasn't moving, but he was dropping pins on houses, and he'd like move his car.
False data.
It was just creating a ton of false data for us, specifically speaking. And so we had a general meeting with everybody, talked to everybody about it, said, hey guys, this is something that we're seeing, and we'd appreciate it if you stop, because we're trying to create clean data and be able to improve the way that we analyze our business and the decisions that we make, so it can be made based off of data, not just off of gut or instinct. And so
sure enough,
next day the guy's doing it again, which is like, we just had a conversation about this. Like, yeah, it's disrespectful, but it's just kind of, stupid for lack of a better expression. And we're just like, hey, what are you doing this for, man? I said, usually I let people go on the spot for this. I said, I'm going to give you a second chance, clean it up. Like, I know you have a lot of potential. I see the person that you could be. Yep. So why don't we just refocus and make it happen? And like 2 days later, sure enough, he's like doing the same crap again. So I was like, F this guy, man. Let's just bring him in and just get rid of him. Because unfortunately, like, we want people to succeed and we want people to have the opportunity to change. Like, not everybody's perfect. We all make mistakes. And so I think as a leader, you have to have those moments where it's like you're going to give a person that chance to try to succeed even when they've made a mistake, and everyone deserves a second opportunity, sometimes a third. And in this guy's case, it's going to bring culture down. He's going to set a bad example for other people. Our culture is not going to progress, and our team's not going to grow the way we want it to if we have cancers or bad eggs on our team.
100%.
And what's funny is when we did bring him in, it wasn't even like a conversation that he tried to fight for his job at all. He knew exactly what he did, and it was just easy. Like, okay, cool. Like, he knew exactly what he did. There was no combating it.
Yeah, people, and what's funny is people want to test you and see how far they can stretch and milk. And
oh, they do, for sure.
It's kind of sad. Like, there was another scenario you were talking about, how you let go of the kid for not buying into attitude-wise, like his attitude. Tell us about that one.
That was actually just the new hire. Got here late for our group meeting. We usually start new hires off with a meeting with everybody so they can get to know everybody, have that team culture vibe, and get excited about working with us and with the whole team. Then he just mouthed off after we did a meditation session, trying to get everybody on the same page emotionally, mentally, and he just mouthed off, and I'm just like, dude, like, please take this seriously. He mouthed off again. I said, dude, there's the door. Like, it's hard to have to make decisions like that because you don't want to bring anybody down or bring the whole culture down, but sometimes you just
better for
have
the long
to
run.
Get rid of those people because they're going to bog down the rest of the culture. And we've had a couple experiences like that where we have to get rid of people, even people that are producing, like, but like there's just everything from backbiting to gossip, people talking behind each other's backs, and lack of integrity. And you call people out on it, ask people to change, and they don't. It's just like, unfortunately, you have to make hard decisions like that for your organization to succeed. But we have, and I think you can attest to, like, our culture today is solid.
I was impressed.
Yeah, I was impressed.
There are some times where I go to offices and I'm like, oh no.
Yeah. What are you doing?
I was like, good, this is an uphill battle. But I'm like, it's cool because you've protected and you've set a standard of type of individual and the expectation to where they have respect for you.
Right.
They see you guys as the leaders. They, you know what I mean? And I could sense that, and it was just really cool. Like, even that girl calling you today showed that she trusted to call you. So gotta give us some context to that, because that to me was a sign of we're doing something right. Yeah.
Just had a rep going through one of those days, you know, kind of gotten beaten down. She'd had a couple days, you know, back to back of in her area that she's going and knocking, kind of just having some quote unquote mean customers, and it wasn't anything too crazy, but it just kind of triggered an emotional response with her, and kind of started to cry, and giving me a call, and, you know, kind of just let her vent and tell me what was going on. And, you know, sometimes you got to play like that team psychiatrist and, you know, help people see that there's another day, there's another chance, there's another door, and really leave it on the door that you left it, like that they should not be having it tied to your emotions, because they're not paying your bills. They're not the one that's putting food on the table for your kids. Like, why is it that their words would have such a dramatic impact on your emotions and on your heart? And so moving forward, it's just like, you know, sometimes you got to go take a minute or two and go listen to that favorite song and just, you know, put it in the back burner and just go get that next door. But I think that you have to really be willing to be there for your people and be willing to take those phone calls, especially in that leadership position, to where you can say, you know what, like, let's just keep moving. Let's move forward, and let's get to that next door, because that next door might be that gold mine. That next door might be that 100%. Like, everyone goes digging for gold and get to that 90%, and they turn around, they're like, man, I didn't find any today. And it's like, that last 10% could have been 3 appointments, 3 sales. And so, you know, just really pushing them to be to that next limit, and, you know, helping them out emotionally, because at the end of the day, it's a hard job. And she's, you know, 5 weeks into this and never done it before. And so just coaching them and letting them know it's going to be okay. Like, you're going to live. You're here to see another door. You're here to see another day. So,
yeah. And I love your theory of the happiest animal. Tell us about that.
Just a little shout out to the show Ted Lasso. If you haven't, I think it's a fantastic show. But I told Chris, like, right when I first came here, I was like, you got to go watch it. He's like, oh, I've heard about it.
It's a show?
It's a show on Apple TV, but it's just so uplifting, good coaching, like things like little one-liners you could take in and apply every day. And he came back, he's like, I watched like 5 episodes. I'm like, yeah. He's like, let's be a goldfish. I'm like, yeah, goldfish. And so there's a scene in that show where he's coaching soccer. It's Jason Sudeikis. And one of his defensive players gets burned on the field and like falls down. And the other player that burned him comes by. He's like, haha, like, I owned you. And he's like, hey, Sam, come here. Like, told his name was Sam, actually, to come up and get off the field and come and talk to me. And he comes over and he's like, hey, man, do you know what the happiest animal in this world is? And he goes, no. He's like, it's a goldfish. He's like, what? He's like, it's because a goldfish has a 10-second memory. Be a goldfish, you know? And he's like, and then Jason's like, you get it. You get it. You know, so it's like, just forget about it. Like 10 seconds later, just be a goldfish. You have a bad experience. You have a bad door. You have an angry person. You know, be a goldfish. Forget about it. Move on. Be happy. Don't let that drag on to your next door.
And I love that. I call it selective amnesia, the Men in Black pen thing.
Yeah.
But like, I love the goldfish kind of motto. And to take that a step farther, you gave everybody what? And she busted it out. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we ordered some little gold keychains that say "Be a goldfish" on it. It has a little goldfish that they can take around with them, just as that daily reminder, a little bit of fun. But yeah, they're all about it. We want to put a sign up on the wall there that says "Believe" and have everyone slap it on their way out so that they know, like, you know, believe, we got this.
Love that. So talk to us a little bit about kind of your culture systems. Like, you talked about developing, and you did that at Vivint. You helped develop in the back end some of the onboarding and the training and the recruiting systems, and you have a lot of good ideas and implemented at the mass level these things, and now you're implementing it on a smaller business scale, which has been a huge asset to Chris, obviously. Talk to us about some best practices that companies need to implement in order to see high rep retention, high rep success early on, things like that.
Yeah, I think that first of all, giving them a path of vision for long-term growth. First thing, that they need to know that they can stay here for the next 5 to 10 years and grow something substantial, and see that vision first off. And I think that the second thing that kind of ties into that is giving them that environment to where they don't have to reinvent that. But I think that the biggest thing is like giving that belief into these people that, you know what, you don't need to come here with past experience, that coming in and just applying yourself to these systems, to these processes, you know, making sure that you have like the incentives, what are you doing for your people? If you care for your people, then your people will go to battle for you. And they don't know how much you care until you go out into the trenches with them. You go out and help them succeed. And I feel like it's a really, really important thing for building culture, to really care about the newest person coming into the organization. Every time I've looked at different companies, whether that be network marketing or look at door to door, I always look at the comp plan and I say, is there something that's healthy for the newest person? Because it makes it easier to recruit, makes it easier to retain, and it makes it easier for them to have immediate success. And I've always built teams based on an x-axis of excitement versus fear. And if you can have them have some success immediately, see a win immediately, then you keep that excitement level high. But the longer that they go by, it passes across and the fear creeps up to be higher than their actual excitement. And then that's where no action happens. That's where sitting in the car and not hitting the doors happen. And so really creating a culture of, you can come in and win immediately. We see success in the first month. We see success in the first week. And having people catch that vision immediately. We just had a lady come on, probably about 6 weeks, Victoria. And in her first week got 2 sales. And she's like, man, I've never made this much in a week. And then she was able to go and quit her second job. And she was working, 8 p.m. to 5 in the morning and then come in working noon to 5 here. And it's just a crazy schedule. And to have her be able to leave her job within 2 weeks and say, I can just do this now. It's that's rewarding. You know that you're on the right path and you know that you're putting together something where people can come in. And now we've had multiple people be able to quit their previous job or be able to just work one job here instead of having those 2 jobs and have no personal life outside of work. So it's really rewarding.
Love that. What are some big takeaways that you've had? We'll kind of wrap up the day, a lot of people don't fathom systems or they can't fathom improvements or changes. But just even today, what were some things that you learned in the leadership discussions we had or even the sales discussions we had that you're like, wow, I'm ready to take this and put it into action and move forward with this? Is there anything that stood out?
So one of the things that we're trying to do is create a summer sales program here. And so, we're trying to recruit heavily here. We thought about going, we both have roots in Utah, so we thought we could go back to Utah and try to recruit people there. And one of the things takeaway wise for creating this kind of our summer sales system, it's not really a system as far as using CRMs and things like that, but was we talked about going to Eastern Washington or Boise or to other markets that wouldn't be suspect for us to go recruit in, and that was a big takeaway for me to just kind of think outside of the box. Other takeaways that I had, I think the automating things that we spend too much time on as well. And outside of that, I think automating our recruiting and using CRM for recruiting, managing people that are coming in. So my takeaway is honestly a lot to kind of just take away. And there's a lot we worked on. I kind of need to go. Brain's kind of
brain's overflowing
at other points. It's kind of you don't need.
That's why we put the list together. That's why I take notes. I'm this list will just keep adding up.
100%.
Just to make you feel better. That list is half as long as half the companies I go. Most of the companies I go to, I'm like, this is going to hurt, and you don't think you have to do it tomorrow,
right.
And you got, think 6 months or something to try to map all these things out. And
100%.
if you finish it sooner, then call me and we can give you another list because there's always going to be something. And I think every business needs to come to the realization that it's not you're at the part of your journey where you are today. Vivint, being a multi-billion-dollar company, is at their part of their journey where they need to be at today, which has different issues, different problems, different things that they need. Yep. Just like you have different issues, different problems, and different things that you're ready to focus on. And that's why I say it's like ourselves. Our human development is just like business development. There's iterations of entrepreneurship and team and systems and automation and production and volume and speed. And I think everybody needs to remember, meet you where you are, and then say, what's the long-term vision? Like you said, where are we going as a company, even not just as a rep, but it's okay, where are we going as a company? 20 million, and then what? Right? You're going to get to 20 million, and then you're going to be like, then what does next year look like? And what does the next year look like? And then you're going to be caught with your pants down because you didn't think about 2023. Exactly. And you're like, we should have been thinking about 2023 already too. Because 2022 is in the bag. We're doing it. It's happening. Right. And so it's anticipating the problems as a $20 million company is in 50 reps versus 10 reps. You know what I mean? And knowing what those things look like and being able to have the insight and the coaching and the support and the environments and what problems come now? How do we anticipate those and avoid and save ourselves some dummy tax? And I just like to give entrepreneurship grace. I have a couple different businesses, and some thrive, and some are like, it's putzing along, it's there, it's doing its thing,
Right. Yeah.
And I just remind any entrepreneur listening to this that meet you where you are, and what's the next tiers that you're moving up. So, anyway, any advice to entrepreneurs? I mean, you've been doing this for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
What advice would you give an entrepreneur?
I'd say, go all in, man. Like, that's the thing, is like, you just either you commit and you move forward with it 100%, and you protect your business as much as possible, and you just fight for it, because at the end of the day, no one else is going to. And if you're not going to do it, somebody else is going to take advantage of that opportunity. So you might as well, take your share of the market and go after it. Because I think that had we not, I mean, there were so many reasons. Like, we started this in the middle of a pandemic. There's so many reasons to not do this, but we're just like, well, F it, we're going to do it.
And guys, when they say middle of a pandemic, I went to the gym this morning, and they still made me wear a damn mask. And I was like, are you kidding me?
Welcome to the Northwest.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
wait. Did you guys not get the memo that this was all a hoax? Like, wait, have you guys been living under a tree in Portland or something? Like, what the fuck? Like, I was like, wow. She literally made me go back to my hotel room and like grab my freaking mask.
Yep.
I was like, screw you. I get pissed at that kind of stuff. I shouldn't, but I'm like, okay, you still like are scared of me, aren't you? And anyway, do you have any advice like to give the industry or the
entrepreneurship? I've always looked at it like I got to treat every business like I put in 500,000 or 500 million into it, and if I come in, if you have buy-in, if you are going to start your own business, I've started traditional businesses in my past, and I always look at it like the commitment level matches what you're invested into it, right? So that mindset, even if I'm only into it 5,000, 50,000, 100,000, whatever it may be, like I always got to look at it like I'm committing $1 million to this, because my commitment level to that company goes up more if I thought, and I have more skin in the game, right? So just like Chris said, be committed, but just be persistent and consistent. Like, I think that's the biggest thing when it comes to building business, whether it be in door-to-door or building in traditional businesses, being consistent and persistent. And that's how you're going to be able to last and be able to grow.
Love that.
I'd say one more thing, too, is if you're starting a new business, ask Sam for help.
Honestly,
I didn't tell.
He didn't tell me
he
to
gets
plug
a
it.
rip.
I swear, he didn't ask me to plug a thing. So he didn't ask me to plug one thing. He came on this to help, to give us a shout, help us recruit, help us, do our thing. But I'd say, honestly, it's like, don't be afraid to ask for help, because you don't know what you don't know until you know it. And it's like,
so key.
So many people have come before and started businesses, like you said, to eliminate the dummy tasks. Like, just ask for help or pay for help, and don't be afraid of like paying for it, whether it's Sam or whether it's another type of consultant. I think it's just so important to like ask for help for those that have come before us, because we can eliminate those learning curves, and then it will really broaden our vision of like what we could do individually, as well as a business whole. That's probably the biggest thing, is to see companies like JKR as an example. Like, that really inspired me to see them from 1.5 to 10, where I'm like, okay, we go from 2 to 20 and we go fast, and I just say, Sam, this is what I want to do, and help me. So, I mean, I'm not sure podcast, but I'm happy to give you a shout. Like, it worked. Like, this is a real testimonial, and like, we're happy to promote him as much as he's willing to promote us, and I think it's just a win-win.
Love it.
I got one last thought as well that kind of just came across my mind. Is I live my life by like, practice makes progression and practice doesn't make perfect. So you can't compare yourself to somebody's chapter 10 when you're in chapter 1.
Yes.
So if you just have somebody that's just starting in the industry, it's like they see these people that are top producers, they're like, man, I just want to be like that person. It's like, yeah, that takes time, it takes skill set, it takes going through a learning curve. And I think learning from other people's mistakes will shorten that learning curve, but don't get in the comparison game, because comparison will kill your business and kill your mindset and then drag you down eventually. So don't compare yourself. Just go at it and say, you know what, I just need to go out and every day improve myself. And that's why I love golf. I like, anything that's a personal game where I can go out and play against my personal best. What is it that I need to get better at? And that's what door-to-door is. It's like, I just need to go out every day and practice to progress, not practice to get perfect. Because as soon as I think I'm perfect, I'm not learning anymore. Yeah. Right? So that's my last thought.
I love that. I just watched a scenario like that. I won't go into the details, where this individual got really almost like depressant. Like it became delusional to think that they were in my world,
right,
but should have what I have, yet they're 7-8 years behind.
Yeah.
I'm like, give yourself some grace. Like, I've been at it for years, and I'm like, don't beat yourself up or compare or judge and create resentment even towards me, where I was just like, no, like, I love you and your scenario, and this is where you need to be, and it's perfect. And just meet you where you're, practice is progression, put in the work. Like, you just, unfortunately, didn't see 7 other years. Like, it's, you know what I mean? It's like, just see where you are and accept that. So I love that.
Yeah, everyone's metamorphosis isn't always at the same pace.
Yeah. Well, I hope you guys got some value out of this. Share this. Give this a big like. Comment maybe something you learned. Go leave a review. Go tag somebody that maybe needs some little love on the leadership or entrepreneur side of things. And we'll see you guys on the next episode.